You feel like she's never coming back. That thought alone can eat at your confidence, your sleep, your drive. But before you let hopelessness become your identity, I want you to pause and watch this. Not because I have the answers she didn't give you, but because what you're feeling right now. It's exactly where strength can be born. This isn't about begging, chasing, or waiting. It's about what you do with the silence. If this speaks to where you are right now, take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. Number 1. When never feels permanent. It's easy to believe she's never coming back, never texting again, never seeing your name and feeling something again. And when that thought settles in, it doesn't feel temporary. It feels heavy, final, like a door that's been sealed forever. If you're watching this, you've probably replayed moments in your head late at night, wondering how something that once felt alive could now feel so distant. That sense of never can drain your hope fast. But here's what I want you to understand. And this is where Stoicism quietly changes the way you see the situation. The Stoics taught that our suffering doesn't come from events themselves, but from the meaning we attach to them. Right now, your mind has labeled her absence as permanent, as proof that the story is over. But permanence is rarely reality, it's emotion speaking with authority. Zeno of Citium didn't choose philosophy from comfort. He lost everything in a shipwreck. His old life was wiped out in a single moment. And yet, that loss became the doorway to a new identity, a stronger inner foundation. What felt like an ending was actually a redirection. Think about how this shows up in your own life. Today, she's never coming back feels like a verdict. But what if this moment isn't about her returning at all? What if it's about you being forced into stillness, into growth, into a version of yourself that no longer depends on hope tied to someone else's choices? The Stoics believed that when life removes what we cling to, it's testing whether our strength was ever real or borrowed. I've seen this happen again and again. Men who felt hopeless, convinced it was truly over, didn't suddenly win her back by chasing or convincing. What changed things was time, silence, and self-command. As weeks passed, the emotional charge softened. Clarity replaced panic. And whether she returned or not, they realized something powerful. The never that once terrified them had quietly rebuilt them from the inside out. So, if right now it feels permanent, don't fight that feeling. Observe it. Let it sit without letting it define you. The Stoics would say this is not the end of your story. It's the moment your story stops being controlled by fear. What feels like the closing of a door may simply be life steering you toward a version of yourself that no longer breaks when someone walks away. Number 2. You don't need her to explain. When you're sitting in that space, where hope feels thin and the silence feels permanent, it's natural to think that one explanation would fix everything. One honest conversation, one clear reason. One final message that ties all the loose ends together. You tell yourself, if I just understood why she left, I could finally move on. But that belief is part of what's keeping you stuck. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people avoid. Explanations rarely heal. They soothe curiosity, not wounds. Even if she gave you a reason today, your mind would still question it tomorrow. You'd replay her words, analyze her tone, wonder what she didn't say. Closure doesn't come from information. It comes from acceptance. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait for the world to make sense before he found his footing. He didn't demand fairness, clarity, or emotional reassurance from others. He wrote to himself, grounded himself, and focused on what was within his control. Not because life was easy, but because waiting for answers would have kept him weak. Think about your own situation. Maybe she disappeared slowly. Maybe she pulled away without warning. Maybe you're left staring at your phone. wondering how someone who once felt close could now feel unreachable. That confusion hurts, but asking her to explain won't return your peace. It hands it over. Right now, your mind is saying, "She owes me clarity." Stoicism gently counters with, "You owe yourself stability." You don't need her permission to heal. You don't need her version of events to rebuild your confidence. Growth begins the moment you stop outsourcing your peace. And this is important, especially if you feel hopeless that she's never coming back. Waiting for explanations keeps you emotionally frozen in the past. Letting go without answers is what allows movement. Strength isn't found in knowing everything. It's found in standing firm even when you don't. So if you're watching this and feeling that ache for understanding, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not broken because you lack answers. You're human. And the moment you stop needing her to explain is the moment you start explaining your own life with action, discipline, and calm. That's not giving up. That's choosing yourself. Take a breath here and really sit with what you just heard. If any part of this felt uncomfortably familiar, that's not a bad sign. It's awareness waking up. This is one of those moments where you can either scroll past the feeling or actually let it teach you something about where you are and what you're ready to release. If this resonates, show your support by liking the video. And if you're comfortable, leave a comment sharing what stood out to you the most. Or, if you don't have the words yet, simply type, "I choose my peace" in the comments. Let that be your quiet commitment to yourself as we move into what comes next. Number 3. She was never your foundation. And I want you to really sit with that for a moment, especially if you're watching this feeling hopeless, like she's never coming back, and everything inside you feels unstable. If she became the thing you leaned on for calm, for motivation, for a sense of direction, then losing her will naturally feel like the ground disappeared beneath your feet. Anyone would feel that way. But that doesn't mean you're broken. It means you placed your weight on something that was never meant to carry it. Epictetus warned us about this long before modern relationships ever existed. He said, "Attach yourself only to what cannot be taken away." Think about that in real terms. A person can leave. Feelings can change. Circumstances can turn overnight. When your peace depends on someone else staying, choosing you, or returning, you're living on borrowed stability. And borrowed stability always expires. Maybe you recognize this in yourself. When she was there, you felt steady. You slept better. You felt confident. You told yourself, as long as she's in my life, I'm okay. And now that she's gone, your mind keeps saying, I won't be okay again until she comes back. That's not love talking. That's dependency asking for relief. And the Stoics were very clear about this. Anything that can be taken from you without your consent was never truly yours to begin with. Here's the shift I want you to consider. She was a part of your life, not the structure holding it up. Your foundation was always supposed to be your self-respect, your discipline, your ability to endure discomfort without collapsing. Those things are still here, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. You didn't lose your values when she walked away. You didn't lose your capacity to grow, to become grounded, to build a life that feels solid again. You just lost the distraction that kept you from noticing how much of your strength you handed over. And this is where hope quietly returns, even if it doesn't feel hopeful yet. If she never comes back, you don't disappear. You don't stay broken. You rebuild from something that cannot leave you. The Stoics believed peace comes from reclaiming what is within your control and releasing what never was. She can go. That's outside your hands. But your response, your growth, your ability to stand on your own again, that belongs to you. So, if you're watching this thinking, I don't know how to move forward without her, understand this. You're not starting from nothing. You're returning to yourself. And that's a foundation that doesn't collapse when someone walks away. Number 4. Silence doesn't mean it's over. She's quiet. She hasn't reached out. And when you're already feeling hopeless, that quiet feels loud. It presses on your chest. It convinces you that if she cared, you'd know by now. That if she was ever coming back, she wouldn't leave you in this uncertainty. But this is exactly where Stoicism challenges the story your mind is telling you. Silence itself has no meaning. Meaning is something we assign to it. Most people treat silence like a verdict. No message becomes rejection. Time passing becomes proof. But Seneca understood something most don't. Silence is not an answer. It's a mirror. He once wrote letters to a friend who didn't reply, not because he expected reassurance, but because writing helped him clarify his own thoughts. The value wasn't in being answered. It was in staying grounded while unanswered. Think about the moments when silence hits you hardest. Late at night, scrolling through your phone, replaying old conversations. That's when fear fills the gaps. But fear only shows up when something inside you is still attached. Stoicism doesn't judge that attachment. It observes it. It asks you to notice where your peace depended on her presence, her words, her validation. Not to shame yourself, but to understand yourself. And here's something important to remember. Silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. Often, it means everything is happening internally. People process privately. Pride interferes. Confusion delays action. And sometimes, silence exists simply because life is unfolding in ways you can't see. Marcus Aurelius warned against assuming intent where none is proven. Her quiet is not a message aimed at you, it's a condition you're currently experiencing. So, instead of treating this silence as the end, let it become a turning point. Not because it guarantees she'll come back, but because it gives you space to reclaim yourself. This is the moment where you stop reaching outward for certainty and start building inward for stability. If she returns one day, you'll meet her from strength, not need. And if she doesn't, you'll realize something quietly powerful. The silence that once scared you didn't break you. It taught you how to stand without leaning on anyone at all. Number 5. Your growth is building quietly. And I know how that feels. It feels like you're doing all this inner work in silence while the world keeps moving. Like she's living her life and you're evolving somewhere she'll never notice. It can feel pointless at first, like you're lifting weight in an empty room, sweating without applause, changing without witnesses. That's usually when the hopeless thought creeps in. She's never coming back. So what's the point? But this is exactly where Stoicism speaks to you. Cleanthes, one of the early Stoics, spent years doing hard manual labor just to survive. People mocked him. They underestimated him. From the outside, it looked like nothing important was happening. Yet in that quiet, unseen grind, he was sharpening his mind and strengthening his character. Years later, the same man became a teacher to kings. Nothing about his rise was loud. Nothing about his growth asked for permission or validation. Think about your own life right now. You're learning to control your reactions instead of chasing reassurance. You're sitting with discomfort instead of running back to what feels familiar. You're choosing discipline on days when motivation is gone. That doesn't feel heroic. It feels lonely. It feels slow. It feels invisible. But this is the kind of growth that changes your posture, your energy, the way you carry yourself without trying to prove anything. And here's what matters most. Growth that happens quietly doesn't need to be announced to be felt. When someone sees you again after real inner change, they don't always know what is different, but they feel it immediately. Your calm lands differently. Your presence feels grounded. Your words carry less urgency and more certainty. Whether she comes back or not is no longer the center of the story. What matters is that you're becoming someone who doesn't collapse when hope fades. And if life ever puts her in front of you again, she won't be meeting the man she left behind. She'll be standing in front of someone shaped by silence, patience, and quiet strength, and that kind of transformation speaks for itself. Before we go any further, pause with me for a moment. Let this sink in not as motivation, but as recognition. Ask yourself where you've been choosing discipline over impulse, calm over reaction, self-respect over comfort. This is the part most people skip past, but it's where the real shift begins. If something in this hit close to home, take a second to reflect and leave a comment sharing what you're working through right now. And if words don't come easily, you can simply type, "I rise by letting go." Number 6. Time won't fix it, but clarity will. I know how tempting it is to believe that if you just wait long enough, something magical will happen. That one morning you'll wake up and the heaviness will be gone. That the thought of her never coming back won't sit in your chest the way it does now. When you feel hopeless, time feels like the only thing you have left to lean on. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people never face. Time doesn't heal wounds on its own. It only stretches them out. And if your thinking doesn't change, all time does is give your mind more space to replay the same pain. Chrysippus, one of the great Stoic thinkers, taught that how you think matters more than what you feel. That idea is powerful when you're in this place, because right now, your emotions are loud, but they're not in charge of your future. Your interpretations are. If you tell yourself this loss means you weren't enough, or that this was your only chance at connection, time won't challenge those beliefs. It will quietly reinforce them. Clarity is what interrupts that cycle. Think about what's really happening when you say, "I just need more time." Often, it's a way of avoiding harder questions. Questions like, why did I lose myself in this connection? Why does her absence feel like it erased my sense of direction? What parts of my life did I neglect while hoping she would choose me? These questions aren't comfortable, but they're honest. And honesty is where real healing begins. Imagine two men going through the same situation. Both feel abandoned. Both feel unsure if she's ever coming back. One waits, counting days, hoping distance will dull the pain. The other starts seeking clarity. He notices where he compromised his boundaries. He sees where he tied his self-worth to someone else's feelings. He recognizes patterns he doesn't want to repeat. The pain doesn't vanish for him either, but it changes shape. It becomes information instead of torment. This is where Stoicism quietly gives you your footing back. The Stoics didn't deny pain. They didn't rush past it. They asked what it was trying to teach. You can't control whether she returns. You can't control whether she ever understands your value. But you can control whether this moment refines you or hardens you. Whether you walk out of this more dependent on validation or more anchored in your own standards. If you're watching this feeling hopeless that she's never coming back, I want you to hear this clearly. Healing isn't about waiting until it hurts less. It's about understanding why it hurts the way it does. When clarity arrives, time stops feeling like your only ally. You stop waiting to be saved by the future and start standing firmly in the present. And that's the quiet shift most people never make, the one that turns heartbreak into strength and uncertainty into direction. Number 7. Her regret isn't your job. If you're watching this feeling hopeless that she's never coming back, it's easy to secretly wait for one thing to make the pain feel justified: her regret. You imagine a future moment where it finally hits her what she lost, what she took for granted, how rare your presence actually was. And maybe that moment will come, or maybe it won't. But here's the truth most people never tell you. Her realization is not your responsibility to manage or wait for. Musonius Rufus taught that a man's peace comes from directing his energy toward his own conduct, not toward correcting the thoughts or emotions of others. That matters here, because the moment you tie your healing to whether she feels regret, you hand your power back to someone who already chose to leave. You start living on pause, measuring your progress by her potential awakening instead of your own growth. Think about how this plays out in real life. You wake up, check your phone, feel that familiar drop in your chest when there's no message. Part of you tells yourself, one day she'll realize. And while that sounds hopeful, it quietly keeps you stuck. Stoicism isn't about hardening your heart. It's about freeing it from outcomes you can't control, freeing it from emotional labor that isn't yours to carry. You don't need to carry her guilt. You don't need to imagine future apologies to justify your pain today. What actually heals you is something much quieter and much stronger. Living in a way that aligns with your self-respect. Training your body even when no one is watching. Keeping your word to yourself. Choosing dignity over chasing clarity that may never come. If she regrets leaving one day, that will be her lesson. And if she doesn't, that doesn't invalidate your worth or your growth. The real question isn't whether she'll look back and feel something. The real question is whether you'll look back at this version of yourself and know you didn't abandon your values just because someone else walked away. That's the kind of peace Stoicism points toward. And that's the kind of strength that lasts, whether she returns or never does. Take a moment to sit with this idea and notice what it stirs in you. Are you still waiting for her regret to validate your pain? Or are you starting to feel your focus shift back to yourself? This is a quiet but important checkpoint. If it resonates, leave a comment sharing what you're realizing right now. Or simply type, "My peace comes first." Let's uncover the next insight together. Number 8. Real love doesn't chase. You cared for her. That doesn't change. And if you're watching this feeling hopeless that she's never coming back, I want you to hear this clearly. Your care was real, but real love was never meant to turn you into someone who abandons himself. Hierocles, the Stoic who described human connection as circles that expand outward, believed that love has structure. It has boundaries. It has balance. Love isn't meant to collapse your entire center around one person. Think about what chasing actually looks like. Replaying conversations in your head, wondering if one more message would change everything. Convincing yourself that effort means proving, explaining, persuading. But love that needs to be chased has already stepped outside its proper place. It's no longer mutual, it's one-sided motion driven by fear. And fear was never the foundation of real connection. You can love her deeply and still choose distance. That's the part most people don't understand. Walking away doesn't erase what you felt. It honors it. Silence, in this case, isn't punishment or pride. It's restraint. It's choosing not to beg for what once flowed naturally. It's trusting that if something is meant to return, it won't need to be hunted down. Imagine two people holding a rope. When one lets go, pulling harder doesn't bring them back. It just burns your hands. Letting the rope fall doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you refuse to injure yourself trying to control what you can't. Stoicism teaches this quiet strength, to act with dignity even when your emotions are loud. If she never comes back, your silence will still have protected something priceless, your self-respect. And if she ever does look back, what she'll notice isn't how hard you chased, but how calmly you stood still. Real love doesn't chase. It remains whole, even in absence. Number 9. You're not waiting, you're rising. It feels like you're standing still because nothing on the outside seems to be changing. No messages, no late night, "I miss you." No sign that she's suddenly realized what she lost. And when life goes quiet like that, the mind plays tricks. It tells you you're stuck, that you're just waiting around, hoping for something that may never happen. But that story is incomplete. What looks like waiting from the outside is actually a rebuilding process happening where no one else can see it. These quiet days are doing something important to you. They're stripping away the habits that tied your sense of worth to her reactions. You're learning how to sit with unanswered questions without chasing relief. You're learning how to feel sadness without turning it into panic. You're learning how to wake up and move through your day without needing reassurance from someone who isn't there anymore. That doesn't feel powerful yet, but it's the foundation of real strength. Arrius Didymus, a Stoic who advised emperors, believed that the highest form of virtue wasn't loud action or dramatic change, but stillness in transformation. Growth that happens quietly. Growth that doesn't need to announce itself. While she may be posting, staying busy, or distracting herself on the surface, you're changing at the core. And core changes don't show up immediately, but they decide everything that comes next. Think about it like this. Anyone can look fine online. Anyone can appear happy, active, and unbothered. But very few people are willing to sit alone long enough to actually confront themselves. You are. You're facing the uncomfortable questions. You're noticing your patterns. You're seeing where you gave too much, where you lost yourself, where you tolerated less than you deserved. That awareness isn't punishment, it's preparation. If you're watching this feeling hopeless that she's never coming back, hear this clearly. The purpose of this season was never to freeze you in longing. It was to reshape you, to turn you into someone who can love deeply without abandoning himself. Someone who can lose someone and still stand upright. Someone whose peace isn't fragile anymore. And here's the part most people don't realize until later. When someone grows quietly like this, the shift is undeniable. If she ever looks back, she won't be able to place what's different about you, but she'll feel it. Your calm will feel heavier, your presence more grounded, your absence more final. And if she never comes back, you still haven't lost. Because the man rising right now doesn't need her return to feel whole. This isn't a pause in your life. This isn't you waiting for permission to move forward. This is the season where you outgrow the version of yourself who thought love had to hurt this much. This is where your strength stops being loud and starts being real. Number 10. Even without her, you come out stronger. Let's say she never returns. Really let that land not as a fear, but as a possibility. Because this video isn't here to give you false hope. It's here to give you solid ground. If she never comes back, it doesn't mean your life shrinks. It means it rearranges itself around something sturdier than expectation. Posidonius believed that pain was not an interruption to life, but a test of character. Not to break you, but to reveal who you are when comfort is gone. And right now, you are passing a test you never asked for. Think about the nights you thought you wouldn't get through. The mornings where getting out of bed felt heavier than usual. You're still here, still functioning, still choosing restraint instead of impulse. That alone tells you something important about yourself. You didn't disappear when she left. You didn't dissolve into desperation. You learned how to sit with discomfort without letting it own you. That's not something most people ever master. That's strength being built quietly, without applause. There's a version of you that existed only when she was around, reactive, hopeful, waiting. And there's the version forming now, shaped by reality instead of fantasy. This version doesn't need constant reassurance. He doesn't collapse when something meaningful is taken away. He understands that loss doesn't erase value. Stoicism teaches that what is truly yours cannot be taken by another person's choice. Your discipline, your self-respect, your ability to endure those stay. You might wonder, what if she never realizes what she lost? And that question itself shows how much you've grown. Because deep down, you're starting to sense that her realization is no longer the measure of your worth. The man you're becoming is not defined by who stays, but by how he stands when someone leaves. Even if she never comes back, you walk out of this season with more emotional control, more clarity, and a deeper understanding of yourself than you had before. This isn't the ending you imagined, but it may be the turning point that shapes everything that comes next. And when you look back one day, you won't see this moment as the time you lost her. You'll see it as the moment you stopped losing yourself. Now I want you to take a quiet moment with what you just heard. Not to judge it, not to rush past it, but to notice what it stirs inside you. Ask yourself where you've grown stronger without realizing it, where you've learned to stand without leaning on someone else. This is one of those rare pauses where insight can actually settle if you let it. If something here resonated, sit with it for a second. You don't have to explain it perfectly, just acknowledge it. And if you feel called to, share a thought in the comments, or simply write, "I'm standing, even now." Number 11. Your peace will speak louder than words. There's a kind of peace that comes after letting go, calm, quiet, solid. If you're watching this feeling hopeless, convinced she's never coming back, I want you to really sit with this idea. Because what you're feeling right now isn't the end of your story. It's the moment the noise finally starts to fade. For a long time, your mind was loud. It ran on questions, expectations, and imagined futures. You weren't just missing her, you were fighting reality. And that fight is exhausting. The Stoics never chased emotional highs. They chased clarity. They understood that confusion drains a man far more than loss ever could. When the fog begins to lift, when you finally stop hoping for a message, a sign, or a second chance, something strange happens. The ache doesn't disappear overnight, but it loosens its grip. You start noticing small things again. Your mornings feel quieter. Your thoughts don't spiral as fast. You realize you're breathing deeper. That's not numbness. That's your nervous system settling after months of tension. Think about how much energy you once gave away without realizing it. Waiting, replaying conversations, wondering what she meant, wondering what you should do next. Now imagine a day where none of that happens. You go to work, train, eat, rest, without that constant background pull toward her. Seneca warned that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And when imagination finally loses its hold, reality becomes lighter to carry. That's when peace starts to feel solid instead of fragile. This kind of peace doesn't announce itself. It doesn't show up as happiness or excitement. It shows up as steadiness. You stop needing to explain yourself to people who already decided how they see you. You stop checking your phone with urgency. You stop measuring your worth by whether someone chooses you. And whether she ever returns or not slowly becomes less important, not because she didn't matter, but because you matter again. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a man should be able to stand upright without leaning on anyone else. That's what's happening here. Your posture, emotionally and mentally, is changing. You're no longer bent by expectation. You're no longer pulled forward by hope or dragged backward by regret. You're standing where you are. And that presence, that calm, speaks louder than any message you could ever send. So if it feels like you're losing something right now, understand this. You're not losing her. You're shedding the version of yourself that needed her to feel whole. And in that quiet space, something stronger is forming. Clarity replaces confusion. Self-respect replaces longing. Peace replaces the chase. Even if she never comes back, you didn't lose, because what you gained was never meant to depend on her. Peace was the point all along. What you've been sitting with through this video isn't just loss or silence, it's a turning point. When nothing comes back, when answers don't arrive, you're forced to discover what actually holds you up. And what holds you up isn't her return, her regret, or her words. It's your ability to stay grounded, disciplined, and calm when hope feels thin. That's where real strength forms. Whether she ever comes back or not stops being the question, because you're no longer built on waiting, you're built on peace. And peace, once reclaimed, changes everything. If this resonated with you, take a moment to like the video, leave a comment sharing where you're at right now, and watch the recommended videos on screen to continue this journey forward.